Chapter 17. It feels like just yesterday we had the engagement ceremony and now I'm already knee-deep in wedding preparations. This whole process is incredibly exhausting. Why must royalty have such an abundance of events? It would be much simpler if they could consolidate everything into one grand occasion and be done with it, Vivienne sighed to herself as she diligently began organizing the arrangements. She continued, lost in her thoughts. It's like an Isekai logic, where paper is never scarce. If only paper were truly rare, then theoretically I'd have less paperwork to handle. But knowing my luck, I'd probably end up having to venture out more frequently to track down the scarce resource. Abruptly, a young boy burst into the room, clearly in a state of panic. Apologies for intruding so abruptly, but we're facing an urgent crisis, the boy exclaimed, capturing the attention of both Milo and Vivienne. The eastern region is currently in the grip of a severe drought, and there are talks of an impending riot. Take a breath, John. Please, calmly explain how this situation unfolded, Milo requested, his voice filled with reassurance in an attempt to calm the boy. Vivienne, could you please gather everyone in the meeting room? It appears that the eastern region is facing a severe famine, and it's disconcerting that we're only learning about this now. Consider it done, Vivienne responded promptly. As much as I had hoped for the wedding ceremony to proceed smoothly, Vivienne pondered, contemplating the situation. It seems that we may need to consider postponing it for the time being. With that thought in mind, she stepped out to gather everyone and assemble them in the meeting room. A few hours later. This blame game accomplishes nothing, Vivienne observed, frustrated by the ongoing squabble. It's been hours, and we can't afford to waste any more time. The Emperor appears unusually fatigued and restless. She contemplated how to restore peace among the group and find a solution. Suddenly, the Emperor coughed, prompting a hushed silence to fall upon the room. Enough of this, finger pointing, the Emperor declared, his tone filled with anger. All of you cease the blame and focus on finding a solution. An eerie silence enveloped the room as uncertainty hung in the air, leaving everyone at a loss for a solution. The Emperor's frustration escalated, growing angrier by the moment. Foolish incompetence. I did not assemble this group to idly waste their days away, the Emperor complained bitterly, expressing his dissatisfaction. Then, unexpectedly, someone spoke up, suggesting Vivienne as a capable individual to tackle the eastern drought. The mention of her name caught Vivienne off guard, surprising her. Why does it seem like I'm being burdened with even more responsibilities? Vivienne wondered to herself, feeling a sense of overwhelm. I should not allow myself to be taken advantage of. I need to assert myself. I appreciate your confidence in me, but I already have other pressing matters to attend to, Vivienne responded, attempting to evade taking on additional work. Unfortunately, I cannot divide myself into two individuals, so I wouldn't be able to effectively address this issue. The Emperor questioned her, wanting to know what other matters were occupying her attention. Vivienne replied, I am currently assigned to oversee the preparations for the Crown Prince's wedding ceremony. Exasperated, the Emperor retorted, we are facing a potential riot. A wedding ceremony is of secondary importance. Go to the east and resolve the problem. As the Emperor's order to prioritize the crisis, the Crown Prince seemed on the verge of voicing his complaint. However, a stern glare from the Emperor swiftly silenced him, leaving the Crown Prince with nothing but a discontented grumble. Vivienne couldn't help but feel disheartened by the Emperor's brusque manner. I've become too much of a pushover, she thought to herself. I will accompany Secretary Vivienne. Ava's sudden declaration surprised everyone in the room. The unexpected determination in her voice caught their attention. The Crown Prince, attempting to dissuade Ava, interjected, Ava, there's no need for you to go. Vivienne is more than capable of handling this task. Ava remained resolute, refusing to back down. No, I cannot simply stand idly by while our people suffer. I am going, and you cannot change my mind. Moved by Ava's conviction, the Crown Prince made a decisive statement, I will go with you. Your Highness, Milo exclaimed, taken aback by the Crown Prince's decision. But you still have important responsibilities to attend to here. The Crown Prince, resolute in his choice, issued a firm order. Milo, you will remain here and oversee matters in my absence. I trust you to handle it. Milo couldn't help but release a tired sigh, feeling the weight of his own exhaustion. However, he nodded in understanding, accepting the task at hand. Very well, the Emperor interjected, his voice filled with authority. With all three of you joining forces, go and resolve this crisis. Dismissed. As the room cleared out and everyone dispersed, ready to confront the impending challenges, Vivienne made her way toward the exit. Just as she was about to leave, Ava and the Crown Prince approached her with determination in their eyes. Vivienne, we should depart tomorrow. Time is of the essence, and the sooner we address this crisis, the better, Ava declared, expressing her intentions. Surprised by the promptness of Ava's decision, Vivienne took a moment to collect her thoughts before responding, Indeed, the urgency calls for swift action. I agree. See you tomorrow. As the couple walked away hand in hand, Vivienne turned her attention to Milo, who was patiently waiting for her. It had become a routine for them to meet and walk together down the hallway after their encounters or work, an unspoken joy they both cherished. However, with Vivienne's imminent departure for the East on the following day, this shared routine would be put on hold for quite some time. Engaged in their familiar stride, Vivienne couldn't help but inquire, how long do you anticipate this journey will take? Milo pondered for a moment, considering the distance they needed to cover and the complexity of the task ahead. Traveling from the capital to the east would take approximately 5 days, and then resolving the problem may require at least a month, he estimated. So, at best, I would estimate almost 2 months. But who knows? Perhaps there might be a miraculous turn of events that allows for an early return. Vivienne mused to herself, placing her hopes on the potential miracle that often accompanies the power of a strong female lead. She couldn't help but feel grateful that Ava would be accompanying her on this journey. However, when considering the Crown Prince's involvement, she couldn't deny that it might make the trip more arduous. With these thoughts in mind, she replied to Milo, I understand. It's crucial for me to inform my family promptly so that they won't be concerned during my absence. As they walked together, Vivienne's mind buzzed with preparations and thoughts of the tasks that lay ahead. The next day. I've just realized that I haven't made much progress in courting Milo, and now I'll be away for 2 whole months. What a stroke of bad luck, Vivienne thought to herself, her tone tinged with sadness. Vivienne, there's no need for you to work so tirelessly, the Duke of Ravenswood voiced his concern, his presence taking Vivienne by surprise. It was heartwarming to see her family there to bid her farewell, even though the message had only been sent the night before. Though she was genuinely glad to see them, Vivienne chose to conceal her true feelings. Dad, I assure you I am genuinely content working for His Highness, Vivienne replied, although it was a lie. She didn't want her family to worry unnecessarily. Her father's response was tinged with skepticism. If you say so, he said, his tone revealing his lack of conviction in her words. But deep within her thoughts, Vivienne made a silent promise to herself. Don't worry, Dad. After the wedding ceremony, I will submit my resignation letter. Once the couple in this story achieves their happily ever after, it means that I no longer need to concern myself with any potential danger, she mused, holding on to a glimmer of hope as she bid her family farewell. Here are some of your favorite snacks for the journey, the Duchess of Ravenswood said, presenting Vivienne with 4 carefully prepared boxes. It was a gesture that didn't surprise Vivienne, as her mother had always been fond of over-preparing snacks for her since childhood. Vivienne's face lit up with gratitude as she responded, Thank you, Mom. Her happiness was evident as she continued, Leopold, please take good care of Mom and Dad while I'm away. Leopold nodded earnestly. I will, sister. Have a safe trip, he assured her. With the reassurance of her family's support, Vivienne felt a sense of relief from their worry. As she made her way to the carriage, Milo was there, ready to lend a helping hand. He assisted Vivienne with carrying her belongings and carefully packing them into the carriage, a small act of support that brought her comfort in the midst of the upcoming journey. Upon the couple's arrival, Vivienne and Milo swiftly made arrangements to ensure the comfort of the Crown Prince and Ava within the carriage. Fortunately, the royal couple had their own dedicated carriage, which meant Vivienne could occupy her own space and travel separately. With the couple settled and cared for, Vivienne took a moment to settle into her own carriage. As the carriage began to move, gradually distancing itself from the departure point, Vivienne turned her gaze back to catch a glimpse of Milo's figure. He stood there, watching them with a mix of emotions. Feeling a pang of nostalgia and gratitude, Vivienne opened the carriage window, allowing the wind to gently brush against her face. She waved goodbye, silently conveying her appreciation for Milo's unwavering support. To her delight, Milo responded with a wave of his own, a gesture that spoke volumes of their connection and friendship. As the distance between them grew, Vivienne closed the window, taking a deep breath. With her resolve fortified, she embarked on the journey ahead, carrying with her the memory of that final exchange, a reminder that she had someone to return to when the task was complete. Chapter 18. Vivienne couldn't help but feel like a bit of a third-wheeler as she observed the couple next to her, who seemed utterly enamored with each other. They appeared lost in their world, reminiscent of a honeymoon. Could you please dial down the lovey-dovey atmosphere? This isn't your honeymoon, we're here to address a major problem. Show a little consideration for those of us who are still single, Vivienne thought to herself, trying to avoid looking at the couple. If only Milo were here, she mused silently. Meanwhile, Vivienne conversed with the local Duke of the Eastern region. The Duke was responsible for arranging their accommodations and assisting with solving the drought problem. Secretary Ravenswood, it is our family's honor to ensure the well-being of His Highness, the Crown Prince, and his fiancée the Eastern Duke spoke with a tone of sincerity. Please make yourself comfortable. We have made all the necessary arrangements. As Vivienne continued her conversation with the Eastern Duke, her attention was suddenly captured by the arrival of another carriage at the Duke's residence. Surprisingly, she recognized the distinctive emblem on the carriage as belonging to the church. Confusion crept over Vivienne as she pondered the purpose of the church's presence. In her mind, she questioned their role in this Isekai world. Would they be portrayed as an evil cult, or perhaps they were only involved in wedding ceremonies or designated the female lead as a saint? Yet, in a world devoid of magic, the existence of a saintess seemed unlikely, though she couldn't help her imagination from running wild with possibilities. While the Eastern Duke attended to the Crown Prince, his son hastened to greet the newly arrived guest. Intrigued by the commotion, Vivienne deliberately slowed her pace, hoping to catch a glimpse of the visitor. As the carriage doors swung open, they revealed a strikingly handsome man with lustrous blue hair and shimmering silver eyes. His attire, adorned with the markings of a high-ranking priest, indicated his esteemed position within the church. Vivienne found herself momentarily stunned by the sight of yet another captivating face. She soon realized she wasn't the only one captivated by the guest's appearance. The collective attention of those nearby had been drawn to him, their gazes lingering in fascination. At that moment, Vivienne noticed the priest's eyes focused on Ava. The priest quickly approached her, ignoring the Eastern Duke's son. "You're the goddess we've been searching for," the attractive priest suddenly knelt. "You're the one who will save this world." Ava stood, utterly taken aback, her senses awash with surprise, leaving her momentarily uncertain how to respond. The scene unfolded with such unexpected intensity that it left everyone present astounded. Vivienne's mind raced with confusion. Wait, did it skip from saintess to goddess? Does magic exist? And is it just me? Or does the priest's outfit seem suspiciously form-fitting, revealing the outline of his muscles? Are priests supposed to be this physically built? What on earth is happening in this isekai world, she pondered, desperately trying to comprehend the bewildering circumstances. There is no such thing as magic. It's nothing more than a fairy tale, the Crown Prince interjected, desperate to keep Ava away from the priest. Magic is a well-guarded secret known only to the highest-ranking church members. It remains concealed until we have discovered our goddess, the handsome priest explained. The audacity of the church, keeping such a secret from the royal family, the Crown Prince exclaimed, his voice filled with anger. We haven't concealed this information from the royal family. The current emperor is aware of the existence of magic as well. However, knowledge of magic is limited to a chosen few within the church. You can count them on just 2 hands. Eventually, when you ascend the throne, you will have been informed about the existence of magic, the handsome priest clarified. And what position do you hold that qualifies you to possess this knowledge, the Crown Prince inquired. I have earned the position of High Priest, the handsome priest replied confidently. The Crown Prince regarded the High Priest with suspicion. You seem too young to hold such a prestigious position as a High Priest, he remarked. People often claim that I possess exceptional talent, which has allowed me to attain my current position, the High Priest responded, explaining his seemingly early success. I'm just an ordinary person, I don't possess the powers of a goddess, Ava protested, attempting to deny the priest's claim. I can prove that you possess the power, the priest asserted, his handsome features exuding conviction. Please give me your hand. The crown prince hastily seized Ava's hand against her will, but her curiosity got the better of her, prompting her to release his grasp. As Ava extended her hand to the handsome priest, a radiant light emanated from their touch, leaving everyone in awe once more. What have you done? The crown prince swiftly interjected. What you witness is evidence that this lovely lady possesses magic, the high priest explained. I have magic, Ava exclaimed, gazing at her hands in awe. Wait, you also have magic? Vivienne inquired, confused by the revelation. The priest's eyes shimmered with excitement. I have been blessed with magic because I was chosen to be the spouse of the goddess. With our combined powers, we can bring forth a world of profound peace. The crown prince swiftly interjected, she is my fiancée. She is not suited to be your fiancée. She belongs with me, as she holds the key to aiding countless individuals in the future, retorted the handsome priest. Vivienne's perplexity deepened with each passing moment. Wait, is this another secondary male lead? Or should I refer to him as the third male lead? And what in the world is that power they speak of? She grew increasingly baffled by the intricate twists of the story. How can my power possibly aid others? Ava inquired, her question halting the two men's fervent argument. You possess the ability to commune with Mother Nature, the priest elucidated. Vivienne was enthusiastic and interjected, oh, we can tackle the drought issue by utilizing Ava's power to summon rain. Moreover, she can bestow blessings upon the land, ensuring bountiful crops. This way, people need not fret over food scarcity, leading to a decrease in unrest and riots. Her words brimmed with optimism. Regrettably, at this moment, she lacks the necessary training to wield such powers. It will require time and guidance, the handsome priest explained. Of course, there will be downsides to having such a powerful ability. I'll have to be patient and explore other options if it doesn't work out, Vivienne thought to herself, resolved to handle any obstacles that may come their way. How thoughtless of me. We've been talking without even introducing ourselves properly. I'm High Priest Raphael, and it's a pleasure to meet you, the High Priest introduced himself, his unwavering gaze fixed solely upon Ava. I'm Ava Silverwood, and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Ava replied, maintaining her composure. Ava. What a lovely name, the High Priest complimented her, his attention still firmly focused on her. As the others introduced themselves, it became evident that the priest's attention remained undivided, his gaze solely fixated upon Ava. So how does Ava's training process unfold? We need to address the drought issue as swiftly as possible, Vivienne inquired, striving to obtain concrete information that would allow her to expedite her return home and minimize Ava's time spent with the high priest. We must find a secluded location where Ava can undergo her training undisturbed for 1 week. We cannot afford any distractions, the high priest asserted. The crown prince interjected, objecting to the proposed plan. No, we will find an alternative solution to the drought. Apollo, I assure you I will be fine, so don't follow me. The drought poses a significant problem that requires immediate resolution. Please, lead the way, Ava responded resolutely without a hint of hesitation. The high priest, pleased by Ava's determination, quickly took her hand and used the power of the wind to transport them to an unknown place. Everyone remained confused as they witnessed the unfolding scene. What on earth is everyone doing just standing around? Find the future crown princess immediately, the crown prince bellowed, his anger breaking the silence. But Lady Silverwood, said one of the knights, attempted to explain. Did you not hear me? Find her now, the crown prince thundered with fury, prompting everyone to look at him in fear. To Vivienne he appeared like a foolish puppy barking at the sky. Since Ava is the main protagonist, I'm sure everything will be fine. First, I need to focus on calming him down. After that, I'll go out and search for Ava, Vivienne thought, already feeling tired. As the crown prince continued his tantrum, Vivienne came to the rescue by offering him a piece of chocolate, which miraculously calmed him down instantly. Please lead the way, Vivienne politely requested of the Eastern Duke, who valiantly maintained his composure despite the chaos. Please follow me this way to your accommodation, the Eastern Duke said, trying to maintain his composure. Vivienne and the sulky crown prince followed the Eastern Duke to their designated rooms. Back at the palace, Milo gazed at the vacant seat opposite him, feeling the tendrils of loneliness slowly enveloping him. This is the first time Vivienne has been away for such an extended period. I never anticipated how hollow it would be, Milo thought. If only it were only the crown prince who had departed. Why did Vivienne have to go with him? I am offended that you appear so lonely, even though I am here to accompany you. The sudden appearance of the Northern Duke shattered the tranquil ambiance and incessantly bothered Milo. Duke Frostborn, I believe it would be best for you to return to the north and resume your work, Milo said, casting an irritated glance towards the Northern Duke. When I learned that Vivienne would depart for the east, I immediately came here to keep you company. Don't worry, I have already completed all my tasks beforehand, and I will return once Vivienne arrives, the Northern Duke explained. I still advise you to manage your time wisely, considering we don't know when Vivienne will return. It could potentially last even longer than 6 months, Milo stated, his voice tinged with annoyance. You're so mean, the Northern Duke responded childishly. I've already been rejected once and now it feels like I'm being rejected again. Milo let out a sigh. So, you're truly intent on staying? Yes, the Northern Duke replied without hesitation. In that case, you'll need to handle all the paperwork. You won't be staying here for free, Milo stated firmly. What, the Northern Duke exclaimed, taken aback by the unexpected request. Time is of the essence, so let's get to work without further delay, Milo urged, paying no heed to the impending complaints. I hope everything is going well over there. Vivienne, I miss you, Milo silently mused to himself. Chapter 19. I can't wait for the wedding so I can finally leave this job, Vivienne thought to herself as she followed the crown prince into the forest. It has been 1 week since Ava went off with the high priest, and we've been searching everywhere for her. Your Highness, we've been wandering through the forest for 3 hours already. I believe it would be wise to return and rest for now, and then resume our search for Lady Silverwood later, Vivienne suggested, attempting to reason with the stubborn crown prince. I can sense that Ava is here, I'm certain of it, the crown prince declared with unwavering confidence, forging ahead without slowing down. That's what you said 2 hours ago, Vivienne thought to herself, rolling her eyes at the crown prince's persistent stubbornness. Instead of exploring alternative solutions, we're trapped here, spending 12 hours a day searching for Ava. What a futile waste of time. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder reverberated, capturing everyone's attention. Ava, the crown prince exclaimed in a state of panic, sprinting after the source of the thunder. Vivienne and the guards were left behind, unable to match his swift pace. Brat, we've lost sight of the crown prince. We must attempt to trace the source of that thunder, Vivienne thought to herself. Everyone, keep your eyes wide open. We must locate the crown prince once more, Vivienne commanded. There's no need for that, a voice resonated through the air, leaving everyone searching for its source. I'm up here, the voice declared, drawing the attention of all present. As they looked up, they realized the voice had originated from none other than the high priest himself. Oh my goodness, he appears like a deity descending from the heavens, Vivienne thought, awe-struck, as the high priest gracefully landed in front of the gathered crowd. We cannot leave His Highness unguarded, one of the guards spoke up. We must locate him as quickly as possible. Goddess Ava has located your crown prince. She instructed me to guide you all out of the forest, so please follow my lead, the high priest announced, fulfilling his role as per Goddess Ava's orders. Does this mean Lady Silverwood has succeeded in her training? Vivienne inquired with curiosity. You must address her as Goddess Ava. As for your question, yes, she has indeed succeeded in her training, the high priest responded in a snobbish tone, emphasizing the proper title for Ava. Will Goddess Ava's newfound power be capable of resolving the issue of the drought? Vivienne asked. She will be able to resolve the drought problem by tomorrow, the high priest answered. Why not today? It's still daytime, Vivienne inquired. How dare you rush the goddess? It is already a blessing for us to witness her presence. Making her work now is atrocious. Do you have no shame? The high priest shouted at Vivienne. Apologies for my lack of manners, Vivienne apologized humbly. I am simply asking a question, there's no need for you to get so agitated, Vivienne thought to herself, striving to conceal her annoyance and maintain a composed expression. The remainder of the journey passed in silence, and upon their arrival they found Ava and the Crown Prince already waiting for them. Thank you, Raphael, for safely guiding the others, Ava expressed her gratitude. The high priest swiftly knelt before Ava and replied, anything for the goddess. Please rise, Raphael. There's no need for you to kneel, Ava said, her expression flustered by the high priest's actions. Once you become a crown princess, people will kneel before you. I believe his gesture is appropriate, Ava the crown prince interjected. She is a goddess, and you should be kneeling as well, the high priest retorted, gazing up at the crown prince and glaring at him. Vivienne, observing the scene unfold, couldn't help but wonder, is this story turning into a reverse harem genre? Maybe I didn't need to shoo away the northern duke, she watched as Ava found herself encircled by two attractive men who exchanged heated glances with each other. Vivienne clapped her hands, capturing everyone's attention. Let's return and rest. Tomorrow holds great significance, Vivienne declared. Without a word of complaint, everyone swiftly dispersed, tactfully avoiding the imposing presence of the two powerful men. Casting one final intense glare at each other, the crown prince hastily whisked Ava away while the high priest gracefully departed with an air of dignity. I can't wait to go home, Vivienne thought to herself as she returned to her room. Weary from traversing the forest, Vivienne slowly made her way back to her room, feeling the weight of fatigue upon her shoulders. As she entered her room, she was taken aback by the sight of Ava sitting there, donning an innocent expression. The unexpected presence of Ava left Vivienne completely caught off guard. Oh no, Vivienne thought, her gaze fixed on Ava. The crown prince is going to create quite the commotion. Greetings, goddess Ava. Is there anything I can assist you with? Vivienne greeted, attempting to convey as much formality as possible, given her deep concern about unintentionally offending Ava, who now held a higher status than her. No need to worry. I wanted to unwind a bit here. The crown prince was overwhelming me, invading my personal space, so I thought staying in your room for a while would provide some respite. I apologize for intruding upon you so suddenly, Ava explained with a sincere expression of apology. Oh, no worries. I am always here at your service, Vivienne replied, although, in her mind, she couldn't help but think, I really want to sleep right now. Vivienne and Ava exchanged awkward glances, the silence lingering uncomfortably. Vivienne found herself unsure of what to do or where to sit. Would you like some snacks? Unfortunately, I don't have any tea at the moment, Vivienne offered, attempting to alleviate the awkwardness. I would appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ava responded gratefully. Vivienne swiftly retrieved her snacks from her luggage and arranged them on the table, finding solace in the task as it helped distract her from the presence of the female protagonist. She focused on organizing the snacks, allowing her mind to wander away from the current situation. I am finished with the preparations. Please enjoy your snack, Vivienne stated, standing beside Ava, who was seated. Please join me. I find snacks more enjoyable when I have someone to share them with, Ava suggested, attempting to persuade Vivienne to join her. I wouldn't dare to sit with the goddess, Vivienne replied, striving to maintain her politeness. Please, I insist, Ava persisted. Reluctantly, Vivienne gave in, realizing that declining her request would be even more impolite. The two remain quiet for a while as they slowly eat the snack. Vivienne's mind raced with questions as she contemplated the possibility of the crown prince barging into the room and the potential conflict between the two protagonists. Uncertainty filled her thoughts as she pondered what she should do in this situation. All the while, Ava remained in her presence. You don't need to worry. I have already informed the crown prince that I would like to spend some time with you. I will return to rest with him in the evening, Ava reassured as if she could read Vivienne's thoughts. That's reassuring to hear that the two of you have a strong bond, Vivienne replied, inwardly relieved. Do you think I am qualified to be a goddess and an empress? Ava asked. Vivienne noticed how Ava looked anxious while looking at her. So, this was the reason why she came to my room. She must have been feeling incredibly anxious about this and needed someone to confide in, Vivienne thought before responding. I believe you possess all the qualifications. You completed the basic etiquette in just 1 month and mastered your powers in 1 week. You are more than capable of becoming both the Empress and the goddess, Vivienne said, seeking to reassure Ava. What if I make mistakes? What if I end up causing harm instead of helping people? Ava questioned. If you make mistakes, it's important to acknowledge them and work to rectify them. Remember, you will always have the Crown Prince and the High Priest by your side, as well as Milo and myself, to assist you and offer support. Vivienne reassured Ava, emphasizing the need to learn from her mistakes. Mistakes are not failures, they are opportunities for growth. Embrace them as valuable lessons that will make you stronger and enable you to help even more people. After hearing Vivienne's comforting words, Ava felt a greater sense of reassurance. The two companions continued to enjoy their snacks in silence. Once Ava finished her portion, she graciously thanked Vivienne and took her leave of the room. Vivienne, feeling a wave of relief wash over her, let out a long sigh. Recognizing the toll the day had taken on her, both mentally and physically, she resolved to treat herself to a relaxing bath, seeking solace and rejuvenation. The next day. All hail Goddess Eva. All hail Goddess Eva, the civilians chanted in unison as the gentle rain sprinkled down upon the field. Miraculously, the plants grew rapidly, transforming the once barren land into a bountiful harvest. The farm area now teemed with an abundance of crops that would sustain everyone for the remainder of the year. A collective sigh of relief resonated through the crowd, for they would no longer have to endure the hardships of hunger and starvation. With joy filling her heart, Vivienne observed the people around her, no longer burdened by the weight of desperation. The once turbulent atmosphere had transformed into one of blissful contentment. The sight of people gleefully frolicking in the rain affirmed that peace and harmony had been restored. Vivienne's thoughts echoed with elation as she realized, people will no longer riot now. And I can finally go home. We should celebrate, the Eastern Duke exclaimed joyfully, his eyes filled with elation as he gazed upon the lush green field. For months, he had grappled with this problem, and now, thanks to the presence of the goddess, it had been resolved in just 1 day. The relief and gratitude he felt were immeasurable, and he eagerly embraced the opportunity to revel in the newfound prosperity. There is no need for celebrations, Ava interjected, her voice calm and composed. Instead, it would be wise to save all the food that will be harvested rather than squandering it on festivities. Her words carried a sense of practicality and foresight, emphasizing the importance of preserving the newfound abundance for the future. That is a wise idea, Vivienne thought to herself, observing Ava's wisdom and growth. Ava has truly matured and will undoubtedly become a great empress. I can now rest easy, knowing that she is capable of leading with wisdom and foresight. A sense of relief and reassurance washed over Vivienne, allowing her to find solace in the knowledge that Ava was well prepared for the challenges ahead. You are right, and I apologize for my impulsive suggestion, the Eastern Duke admitted, acknowledging Ava's wisdom. I was simply overjoyed to witness the transformation of the once barren field. Thank you sincerely, Goddess Ava. Please remember that we will always be here to support you whenever you are in need. His words carried a deep sense of gratitude and a genuine pledge of loyalty. Having witnessed the miraculous transformation, Vivienne wasted no time packing her belongings and preparing for their journey back home. As everyone else neared readiness, Vivienne noticed that Ava desired to have a conversation with the High Priest before parting ways. Although Vivienne was not within earshot to know the specifics of their discussion, her primary focus remained on the imminent return home. Upon witnessing Ava's conversation with the High Priest, Vivienne presumed it would be their final encounter. To her surprise, however, the High Priest's carriage continued to follow them all the way to the royal palace. Vivienne's confusion grew throughout the journey, leaving her with unanswered questions. It wasn't until they arrived at the royal palace that Vivienne finally received the answers she sought, and the purpose behind the High Priest's presence was revealed. As Vivienne stepped out of the carriage, she was greeted by Milo, and the two quickly embraced in a joyous reunion. However, their tender moment was abruptly interrupted by the Crown Prince's voice. The High Priest will be staying at the royal palace as a guest. He wishes to oversee the wedding ceremony between Ava and me, the Crown Prince ordered his secretaries. Despite his words, it was evident that the Crown Prince harbored no desire to prolong his interaction with the High Priest. Milo, sensing the tension, looked at Vivienne with confusion. Vivienne responded, "I'll tell you later," hinting at the need for a private conversation to discuss the unfolding situation. Upon noticing the presence of the Northern Duke, Vivienne's confusion only deepened. The Duke appeared worn out, complaining about being overworked by Milo. However, before he could elaborate further, Milo intervened and urged the Duke to go and greet the Crown Prince, promising that they could catch up later. Vivienne watched as the Northern Duke reluctantly departed under Milo's guidance. Milo met her gaze, his playful tone resonating with reassurance. "I'll explain everything to you later as well," he said, hinting at an upcoming discussion to shed light on the situation. Vivienne eagerly anticipated the opportunity to converse with Milo and gain clarity on the mysteries surrounding their return. Chapter 20. Vivienne's heart raced as she paced back and forth in front of Milo's room. They had agreed to meet up to discuss what had happened while they were apart. Initially, she hadn't given it much thought, but now the idea of being alone with Milo in his room was both exciting and made her nervous. She felt a mix of emotions. On the one hand, she was glad to have this opportunity to spend time with Milo in a more intimate setting, but on the other hand, she couldn't help but feel a bit anxious about flirting with him. Taking a deep breath, Vivienne finally mustered the courage to knock on the door. Startled by the unexpected sight of the Northern Duke opening the door instead of Milo, Vivienne's heart skipped a beat. She quickly checked the door number to confirm that it was indeed Milo's room. Doubt crept into her mind, wondering if she had made a mistake or if something had changed. "Welcome, Vivienne, to Milo's room," the Northern Duke greeted with a cheerful smile, guiding her to a seat. "Milo will be back shortly with all the snacks." "Thank you for the warm welcome," Vivienne said to the Northern Duke, her confusion slowly increasing as she entered the room. "I heard from Milo that you two will be having an interesting conversation, so I wanted to join too," the Northern Duke said with a smile. Vivienne then understood why the Northern Duke was here. Vivienne felt a twinge of disappointment, but she quickly realized that the chance to be alone with Milo was too good to be true. As they waited for Milo, the Northern Duke engaged Vivienne in light-hearted conversation, sharing amusing anecdotes and making her laugh. Despite her initial confusion about his presence, she found herself enjoying their time together. Just as they were immersed in their laughter-filled exchange, Milo returned with a tray of delicious snacks. He grinned upon seeing Vivienne and the Northern Duke getting along so well. "Snacks are here," Milo announced, setting the tray on the table. "These look lovely," Vivienne commented as she took a piece and happily savored it. "Now, Vivienne, would you like to tell us who that man in the white attire is?" the Northern Duke asked while Milo had barely settled into his seat. "Your Grace, the man in white attire is His Holiness, the High Priest Raphael, so we must regard him with high respect and give him very warm hospitality," Vivienne said. "Why is he getting all cozy with Ava?" Northern Duke went straight to the point. "You're making it very obvious, Your Grace," Milo commented with a hint of amusement. "I'm not the only one curious, I know you are as well," the Northern Duke defended himself. Vivienne could see the curiosity in both the Northern Duke and Milo's expressions as they eagerly awaited her explanation. Okay, I'll spill the beans," Vivienne said, enjoying their enthusiasm. It all started when the High Priest discovered Ava's magical power. He believed that if he and Ava were to be married, their powers would combine and bring forth a world of profound peace. "Wait, magic is real?" Milo interrupted, his eyes widening in surprise. "Wait, the High Priest wants to marry Ava?" the Northern Duke exclaimed, equally taken aback by the revelation. Vivienne nodded, confirming both of their reactions. "Yes, it's all quite extraordinary. Magic is real, and the High Priest truly believes that marrying Ava would bring about a world of profound peace." Milo and the Northern Duke exchanged incredulous glances before turning their attention back to Vivienne, eager for more details. Vivienne couldn't help but smile at their curiosity. "I know it sounds like something out of a fairy tale," she continued, "but that's exactly how the High Priest sees it. He's convinced that their combined powers would be a force for good." "I can't believe it," Milo said, still trying to wrap his head around the idea of magic. "I agree," the Northern Duke added. "It's quite an ambitious plan, to say the least." Indeed, Vivienne agreed. But Ava declined the High Priest's proposal. She's determined to follow her own path and fulfill her own destiny. "And what about the Crown Prince's reaction?" the Northern Duke asked, leaning in with interest. "Oh, how I wish I were there to witness his reaction. He must be livid." Oh, the crown prince was not happy at all, Vivienne replied, chuckling. He tried everything to keep Ava away from the high priest during her training. But in the end, Ava insisted on going through with it. That must have been quite the showdown, Milo commented with a grin. It was, Vivienne said, shaking her head. But Ava stood her ground, and she completed her training successfully. Now, with her newfound power, she's already making a difference, like ending the drought in the eastern lands. Both the Northern Duke and Milo looked impressed by Ava's achievements. Well, it's clear that Ava is no ordinary woman, the Northern Duke said. But that's for sure, Milo added with a smile. And she's just getting started, Vivienne said, her voice filled with pride for her friend. Also, remember, we must call her Goddess Ava now. Ava will always be Ava, the Northern Duke stubbornly answered. Understood, Milo answered with a nod. Now, it's my turn to ask some questions. Your Grace, how long can you stay here? Don't you have work in the north? Vivienne inquired, curious about the Northern Duke's stay at the royal palace. I've cleared my schedule for at least 2 months, as I assumed you'd be gone for a while, so I came here to help Milo and keep him company, the Northern Duke answered with a warm smile. Why is he smiling like that? Did I change the Northern Duke's character that much? Or is there something more going on? Vivienne's mind raced with a flurry of internal questions as she observed the interaction between Milo and the Northern Duke. Wait, did the Northern Duke just call Milo by his name? They seem so comfortable with each other. Have they progressed their relationship faster than mine with Milo? Is the Northern Duke interested in Milo? Oh no, do I have a rival for his affections? Vivienne couldn't help but feel a pang of unease. I appreciate your kind offer to help, Your Grace, Milo said with a polite smile, but now that Vivienne is here, I believe we can manage just fine. You don't need to trouble yourself any further. The Northern Duke chuckled and shook his head. Nonsense. I've come all this way to keep you company, and that's precisely what I intend to do, he replied, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Vivienne couldn't help but find the Northern Duke's persistence endearing. She glanced at Milo, who seemed to be torn between annoyance and amusement. All right, if you insist, Milo finally relented, but you better not cause any trouble. The Northern Duke raised his hands in mock surrender. I promise to be on my best behavior, he said with a playful wink. Vivienne's thoughts quieted as she observed the conversation, and she decided to join in with a playful exclamation, Yay, another slave. Vivienne's playful remark earned a chuckle from Milo and a raised eyebrow from the Northern Duke. Oh, I see how it is, the Northern Duke said with a smirk. Am I to be your servant now? Vivienne grinned mischievously. Of course. I shall keep you very busy with my endless requests. As they continued to banter and joke, Vivienne felt a warmth in her heart. She realized how much she had missed them and how glad she was to be back home with her friends. The next day. Why am I here just to suffer? Vivienne thought, feeling caught in the middle of the two handsome men who were arguing with each other over her head. On one side was the cold Duke of the North, and on the other side was the angelic high priest. You must address her as Goddess Ava. You can't address a goddess so casually, the high priest scolded the Northern Duke. I'll call Ava however I want. It is none of your business, the Northern Duke retorted defiantly. No, you cannot. You are disrespecting her, the high priest continued firmly. No, it is not necessary. I met Ava before you, and we are very close friends, the Northern Duke responded. The two men continued to glare at each other while Vivienne found herself in the middle of this ridiculous argument. I have work to do, Vivienne said, attempting to excuse herself from the awkward situation. No, both handsome men exclaimed at the same time, insisting that she stay. Why do I have to be stuck in the middle of this? Vivienne complained, her tone filled with frustration. You are here to mediate the situation, the high priest explained, emphasizing the importance of her role. Enough with the arguing, both of you, and get back to your duties, Vivienne said firmly, but the two men continued to ignore her, much to her dismay. So much for mediating the situation, she thought, feeling exasperated. Vivienne didn't think the situation could get any worse, but just as the two handsome men continued their argument, a third one decided to appear. What are you two doing? The Crown Prince questioned, his tone laced with irritation. Oh no, Vivienne thought when she noticed the crown prince approaching. The last thing she wanted was to get caught in the middle of their bickering. The Northern Duke summarized, "This dude insists that we call her Goddess Ava." The high priest firmly defended his stance, saying, "Goddess Ava deserves to be addressed with a great title." The crown prince, not one to back down, countered, "No, Ava deserves to be called Empress Ava since she'll become one in the future." Vivienne sighed inwardly, feeling like she was stuck in the middle of a never-ending argument. "You know, instead of arguing among yourselves, why not just ask Ava what she prefers?" Vivienne spoke up, feeling fed up with the never-ending discussion. The three men paused for a moment, considering Vivienne's suggestion. The crown prince nodded thoughtfully. "You're right. We should let Ava decide for herself." The high priest nodded in agreement. "Indeed, it's only fair to respect her wishes." The Northern Duke, reluctantly conceding, added, "Fine, we'll leave it to Ava then." With that, they all agreed to approach Ava and have an open and honest conversation about how she would prefer to be addressed. Vivienne felt relieved that her words were taken seriously, and she hoped that they could resolve the matter peacefully. "I need to deal with these three and the wedding. I feel like I'm going to have a headache," Vivienne thought to herself, feeling the weight of her responsibilities. She let out a sigh, straightened her shoulders, and returned to her tasks. Chapter 21. Vivienne, you finally did it. In just 3 months, you've accomplished everything. The wedding is tomorrow, and you're about to gain your freedom. Vivienne gave herself a pat on the back, feeling a surge of pride as she started to have flashbacks of all the challenges she had overcome during the past 3 months. Vivienne's annoyance number 1. The high priest suggested, "Let's have the wedding take place at my church. It is grand and would befit Goddess Ava's prestige." "No, we are going to have the wedding take place in the royal family's personal church. Not only that, the church you are staying in is too far away. Ava would be too tired to travel that far," the crown prince countered. "But the royal family's church is not only smaller but also less beautiful than the church I work at," the high priest persisted. "I am the groom, so I get to decide where I want to have my wedding," the crown prince asserted. "Goddess Ava is the bride too, so you need her opinion as well," the high priest emphasized. The two handsome men looked at Ava, who seemed surprised by the sudden attention. Ava pondered for a while before glancing at Vivienne and Milo, seeking her help. "Looks like Ava couldn't decide where she wants the wedding. I guess she still has some of the female lead's indecisive nature in her," Vivienne thought. "We will be having the wedding at the royal family's church. It has been a tradition for thousands of years. So it would be best not to break it," Milo said, chiming in to settle the matter. Ava nodded in agreement, relieved to have a decision made for her. "Yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Thank you, Milo," she said, giving him a grateful smile. "Nice save, Milo. Now there shouldn't be any more arguments since I don't have to ask for their opinion anymore," Vivienne thought. But she was so wrong. More petty arguments like this continued to appear, driving her to the brink of frustration. Vivienne's annoyance number 2. The cake should be vanilla. It's a classic flavor, the high priest declared confidently. "No way. Ava loves strawberries, so the cake should definitely be strawberry," the crown prince insisted, crossing his arms. "Ava won't be eating the cake alone. Chocolate is the way to go, as it's a flavor that everyone enjoys," the Northern Duke countered, with a hint of smugness in his tone. Vivienne couldn't believe they were arguing over something as simple as the cake flavor. She rolled her eyes, thinking that the Northern Duke was probably joining in for the sake of amusement. "I have a brilliant idea," Vivienne chimed in, earning everyone's attention. "Why don't we have a 3-tiered cake with each tier having a different flavor? We can have vanilla on the top tier, strawberry in the middle, and chocolate on the bottom. That way, everyone gets to enjoy their favorite flavor." The three men paused, considering her suggestion, and surprisingly, they all agreed. It seemed that Vivienne's compromise had solved the cake dilemma once and for all. "Now I can handle this. You guys go find something else to do," Vivienne declared firmly, gently pushing the three men away to give herself some space to focus on her work. "Vivienne, I brought the flavor you asked for. Want to try it?" Milo arrived just in time when the three men had left, which made Vivienne happy to be able to spend some alone time with him. "I would love to," Vivienne said, and the two enjoyed the ice cream together. Vivienne, you have something on your cheek, Milo said, using his napkin to gently wipe away the stain. Vivienne felt her heart pounding with excitement as Milo's close proximity sent her senses into a daze. Is this the cliché scene? And am I living in it? This must be a dream, Vivienne thought, still in a daze, as she felt the lingering touch of Milo's hand on her cheek. The two were enjoying their alone time, but their moment of peace was quickly dashed when the three men returned, hovering around Vivienne like a curious pack of puppies. Vivienne's annoyance number 3. I think the flowers should be white to symbolize Ava's kind-hearted nature, the high priest said. The flowers should be pink to match Ava's hair, the crown prince chimed in. No, the flowers must be blue to emphasize her eyes, the northern duke added. As the men continued to debate, Vivienne kept her back turned to them, pretending to focus on the flower arrangement. She couldn't understand why they were making such a fuss over this, when there were so many more important things to consider for the wedding. But the bickering only escalated, with each man trying to convince the others that his choice was the best. White flowers are classic and elegant, perfect for a royal wedding, the high priest argued. Pink flowers will add a touch of romance and sweetness to the occasion, the crown prince countered. Blue flowers will complement Ava's eyes, making her look even more stunning on her special day, the northern duke insisted. Your Highness, you only seem to focus on Ava's appearance, but you should also consider her personality. Unless you don't know her well enough. And that's why you're insisting on the color pink, the high priest said, his tone laced with disapproval. I know her well enough, and Ava wants to look beautiful on her wedding day, so appearance does matter, the crown prince retorted, his voice rising in response. No, you don't, the northern duke said, adding fuel to the fire. Vivienne could feel a headache starting to form. She had to find a way to put an end to this senseless dispute. Vivienne turned around to face the three men. With a composed expression, she spoke up. The color of the flowers will be red since it is Ava's favorite color, she declared firmly. The room fell silent, and all three men looked at her with surprise. It seemed that they hadn't expected such a straightforward response. Well, red is a good choice, too, the high priest said, trying to hide his disappointment. Yes, it's a classic color that will look beautiful in the arrangements, the crown prince added, nodding in agreement. The northern duke shrugged and said, sure, whatever Ava wants. Vivienne resisted the urge to roll her eyes again. It was a relief that they had finally settled on a color, but she couldn't help but feel exasperated by their behavior. Good. Now that we have that settled, can we please move on to more important matters, she said, hoping to steer the conversation away from any more petty arguments. The three men seemed to get the message, and they reluctantly shifted their focus to other wedding preparations. Vivienne sighed in relief, glad that she had managed to put an end to their ridiculous bickering. Suddenly, a bouquet of flowers came into her view. Vivienne looked up and noticed Milo standing there, smiling at her with such warmth in his eyes. I made this flower bouquet for you, knowing how stressed you've seemed with the wedding lately. I also brought some chocolates. I hope my gifts will cheer you up, Milo said. Vivienne's heart skipped a beat as she smiled with delight, feeling touched by his thoughtfulness. The stress of the wedding preparations seemed to melt away at that moment, replaced by a sense of comfort and happiness. She couldn't help but feel a stronger connection with Milo, appreciating how he always knew how to brighten her day. Thank you, Milo, she replied, feeling her cheeks flush slightly. With renewed motivation, Vivienne dived back into the wedding preparations with enthusiasm. Vivienne's annoyance number 4. This dress design is mediocre. Why did you even pick this? The crown prince criticized the northern duke. This is not mediocre. This is the top designer from the south. This mermaid wedding dress style would make Ava look both sexy and classy, the northern duke retorted. Goddess Ava will not wear that wedding dress. Her shoulders and cleavage are barely covered in that dress. My wedding dress is better. This sheath-style wedding dress would remind everyone of Goddess Ava's prestige, the high priest said. That dress looks like what all priests in a church would wear. The only difference is there is a veil. Also, she can expose some skin. Why are you trying to cover up every inch of her body? The northern duke retorted. Mine is 10 times better than yours, Duke, the high priest boasted. 10 times better? That's an exaggeration, the Northern Duke scoffed. Both of your choices are terrible. I know for sure that Ava would want to wear a ball gown wedding style. The grandness of the dress would show everyone that Ava would be the future empress, the crown prince asserted. A ball gown style? That's too traditional and predictable, the high priest countered. Vivienne and Milo exchanged knowing glances, as they were both now used to these pointless arguments. Your Highness, your Grace, let us not forget that the most important thing is Ava's happiness and comfort on her special day, Milo chimed in, his tone gentle but firm. How about we have a meeting with the top designers from each style and let Goddess Ava choose the design that resonates with her the most? After all, it is her wedding, and her feelings should be the top priority. The three men exchanged hesitant glances, considering Milo's suggestion. Finally, the high priest nodded, agreeing to the idea. You're right, Milo, it should be Ava's choice in the end. We want her to be happy. The crown prince, still a bit stubborn, eventually gave in with a sigh. Fine, but I hope she chooses a design that truly showcases her beauty and grace. Vivienne smiled, relieved that they had reached a compromise. Thank you both for understanding. Ava will appreciate having the freedom to choose her dream wedding dress. With the matter settled, they continued with the wedding preparations, and Vivienne made sure to arrange the meeting with the top designers as soon as possible. The three men were each confident that Ava would choose their choice of wedding dress. However, when the day of the dress fitting arrived, they were all in for a surprise. Ava didn't choose any of the men's choices. Instead, she went for an A-line wedding dress style that had elements of a combination of the three men's designs. Vivienne couldn't help but chuckle as she watched the expressions on the men's faces. They were baffled, yet at the same time, they couldn't deny how stunning Ava looked in her chosen dress. Ava, you look absolutely breathtaking, Vivienne complimented with a warm smile. Ava blushed, touched by her friend's compliment. Thank you, Vivienne. I'm so glad I had your and Milo's help through all of this. The crown prince, the high priest, and the Northern Duke were left speechless, but eventually they all agreed that Ava had made the right choice. After all, it was her day, and she looked radiant in her unique dress. After almost everyone had left, Vivienne couldn't contain her frustration and decided to pull the Northern Duke aside for a private conversation. Why do you keep adding fuel to the fire? Vivienne asked, her tone tinged with annoyance. I'm just here to add some excitement and spice up the ideas, the Northern Duke replied mischievously, a playful glint in his eyes. Don't you have enough work to do? Vivienne retorted. I've already completed all my tasks, and I'm not causing any trouble, the Northern Duke said innocently, shrugging his shoulders. Vivienne couldn't help but look at the Northern Duke with a mix of confusion and amusement. It was as if his personality had taken a complete turn from being cold and serious to becoming playful and mischievous. She couldn't quite fathom how her mere presence had seemingly influenced him to break out of character. With a resigned sigh, Vivienne realized that she had unintentionally changed the dynamic of their interactions. The once stoic and reserved Northern Duke now appeared to enjoy bantering with her, and while it was amusing, it also added to the chaos of wedding planning. All right, Vivienne said, trying to hide her smile. But please, let's not add any more chaos to the preparations. We want Ava's wedding day to be perfect. The Northern Duke chuckled, seeming to relent. All right, I promise to behave myself, Secretary Number 2. Vivienne nodded in approval, relieved that she had managed to get him to cooperate. As she returned to her tasks, she couldn't help but wonder how the dynamics of their relationships had shifted throughout the wedding preparations. Despite the occasional annoyances and disagreements, Vivienne was grateful for the friendships she had forged with the three men. In the end, she knew that they were all working together to make Ava's special day truly memorable, and that was what mattered most. Present day. Vivienne, how is the wedding coming along? Milo asked, as he often did. Very well, everything should be smooth sailing tomorrow, Vivienne replied with a smile. That's great to hear. You've done a fantastic job, Milo complimented, his eyes filled with admiration for her hard work. Vivienne blushed slightly at the praise, feeling a warm sense of satisfaction, knowing that her efforts had paid off. Thank you, Milo, but I couldn't have done it without your help and support. Milo chuckled softly, reaching out to gently brush a strand of hair away from her face. "You're too modest, Vivienne. You've been the backbone of this entire operation, and everyone knows it." Vivienne's heart fluttered at his touch, and she couldn't help but feel grateful for his presence in her life. She had noticed that while she was preparing for the wedding, Milo had been touchy with her a lot, and she didn't mind one bit. It made her feel a special connection with him, and she cherished those moments of intimacy between them. As they continued to spend time together, Vivienne couldn't help but wonder if Milo also desired something more in their relationship beyond their roles as coworkers and friends. But for now, she was content to enjoy the warmth of his affection and the joy of working together to make the wedding a success.